Hello everybody. Today I will try to turn this into an RC. This one is by Jada. So here I'm going to try to drill the 3 holes here for the reverse. The reverse light will be here, the brake lights, and the signal, the turn signal. Same goes for this one. Drill out these holes here so I can have the turn signals there. And then I'll use the original plastic drill drill a little bit of drill a little hole here for the plastic so I can put the driving lights. I want to quickly go over the parts that I'm going to be using. I'm basically going to be using the windows here, and I've drilled a small hole here on the back of this lens here so I could put a LED light there for the headlights. And most likely I will not be using this these seats here or the interior because it will interfere with the parts here that I have. I'll probably most likely cut out the dashboard and the steering wheel and glue them back in place into the car or the van, but most likely won't be using the seats. Now we have our steering mechanism. I basically 3D printed or 3D designed and printed these parts here. We have our chassis. This time I'm going with a linear servo, basically hooking the links up like so. And we have our charging ports, the charging port and on and off switch here, our receiver, and our motor. Now I believe these rubber wheels came off of a Supra or something, but I like these ones because they, for some reason, they are just a little bit thinner than the other ones that I have. So I like these ones and I'll go with them. I'll just put 2 tiny drops of super glue here on the ceiling of the van so I can put the glass back in there. And this should secure it into place. So for right now, I had these leads just solder on just like this so I could test the lights to see if everything will function according to what the diagram shows. Now it's time I can start putting the LEDs in place. And what I would do is I would just put the appropriate LED light into its position and basically just feed the wire and glue the wire onto the side of the car. Just completed tying all the lights together, and now I'm going to be adding resistors to the lights that will need them and soldering them together. Now what I can do is apply some of these liquid electrical tape on the exposed solder area, and hopefully I won't get any shortage. Now these things do smell very bad, so if you can have a fan or some sort of ventilation would be nice. So I finally got this what looks like a jumbo mess here completed. wiring and all that, and the liquid electrical tape on it. Now I'm going to somehow need to mount this servo from the bottom to the top so I can screw it in. And then that one, once that's done, I could fit it into the body like so. Now that that's in place, I'm going to need to push these back wheels in just a little bit so then it could tuck under the fender here so it won't rub. I might have to cut off the small little nub there right at the end of the wheels. And now once I align this, I'll just put a small drop of super glue on this tab and super glue it here, and that should be it. Okay, now that everything's in place, I wanted to run through the controls. We have our steering, we have our motor. This particular motor is very small, so the amount of components and the weight of the car or the van is making it somewhat difficult for it to carry. Now this particular receiver has different options to where there's braking and there's a reverse light. So in this case, I'm trying to go backwards and it shows the reverse lights. And if I go forward and I stop, the brake lights come on. Now you could actually see the turn signal is constantly on. I think it's because the pins are contacting here, or something is wrong. Now I'll have to troubleshoot that, but as far as our braking and our reverse light, that's how it should look like. So if I'm moving forward and I stop, and the brake lights come on for a second and it goes back. Reverse, the reversing light comes on and it should stop. And now the turn signal should come on when I move it left. And normally this particular light will not be on. The pins are contacting somewhere. So normally that right indicator, the yellow light, will not be showing, but I think I got the connectors touching or something. So right now, let's do the brake lights, and then let's see the reverse lights. So every time you stop moving the throttle, the brake lights come on. And if I want the left indicator will come on. The right indicator should have been the same way, but like I said, that I might have the pins touching or something. And then you have your regular driving lights mapped to a switch. So whenever your battery needs some charging, I built in a charging port here, so I don't need to remove the battery every time it needs to be charged. I can just plug it in like this and then plug it into a charging station here, and it's charging. Now the thing about this build is the car is a little heavy for this particular motor, and this motor is very small, and so it actually takes a little bit of juice for the car to get going, but once it gets going, it drives just fine. But overall, very satisfied with the build, other than the fact that this particular indicator light stayed on. I think it's because one of the pins were touching or something, but I'll have to troubleshoot that. Other than that, this build was pretty cool.